wanted to get this done, and it's taken about a year, and Bob kind of getting on board with me and saying, hey, I want to do this too. Sometimes the best thing you can have is somebody in the foxhole with you and wanting to motivate you. I think that's really what the VFW is about, is that you have that person who's with you who wants to do the same thing you're going to do. And we're stronger together, obviously, because we're going to motivate each other to keep this going. So the mission, very simple. We're going to share information. We're going to sit here and have fun. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about maybe some of the things we're doing out at the canteens and the bar levels, but really it's going to be more about the VFW mission, the membership, which is always the number one topic that we're trying to talk about whenever you go to these VFW meetings. And lastly, what we can be doing better in our communities, because I love going to other VFWs and talking to them and finding out what those commanders and what those members and what those comrades are doing that maybe I can steal and take back to my post. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's about. If I see something that I like, hey, how can I bring this back to 1074 Conshohocken, which is where I'm the post commander of. So I'm going to give you a little bit about me, and then Bob's going to introduce himself and do his. So my name is Walt Hartnett. I'm a 13-year Army veteran, medically discharged after my tour in Afghanistan. I went through Wounded Warrior Project. It was based out of Virginia. They got me squared away with the Veterans Affairs, 70% right now. I have my doctor's appointments down at the Philadelphia VA, and we'll be talking about the Philadelphia VA and other VAs, and that's a big topic with veterans. About 6 years ago, I was living in Conshohocken, wasn't really a member of the post. I was a life member already of the VFW because I joined down in the Ridley Park VFW with my first post, and we'll probably talk about that another time, about my first interaction with that post. But I moved to Conshohocken, never really had an idea that I wanted to be a part of that VFW, just didn't really get the good feel. And about 6 years in, I saw a GoFundMe that they were closing down. They didn't have everything going right. They, I guess somebody, took some money or, whatever happened. It's the same story that you hear from every VFW. Something bad happened and you had bad people in charge, and or not bad people, but people just weren't looking around what was going on in charge. And a couple comrades said, hey, we're not going to let it shut down. We're going to save it. We're going to come together and we're going to, fix this. So they put out that GoFundMe. Kind of was my call to action. I saw that and I was like, okay, they need some help. Let me go see what I can do. Let me see if what I can do for them. It was a struggle. We eventually got back opened up. It took us about 18 months to get opened up. I was an adjutant for a while, and then I was on the board. And next thing I knew, I was the commander. I was the commander the second year that I was there. Just because I had the passion for it and it's what I wanted to do. And it was the support of everybody around me that I've been commander 4 out of the past 5 years since that happened. And I've done a lot. I feel like I've done a lot of things with Post 1074. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I still feel like I have so much to learn and so much more to do. So that's my little story and my background, and that's where I'm coming from. I'll tell you right now, I don't have all the answers. I don't know of anybody who does, but let my engineer Bob talk a little bit about, co-host, see what he's tell his story.
I don't know how I'm going to say mine after that. There's a lot of accomplishments in there, but I aspire to be that someday. There's a lot of different things that I hope to do. Anyway, I grew up in Hatboro, Pennsylvania, right in the area here. I'm a member of the Horsham VFW Post 9788. I'm a proud member there. I know Walt had something, he had something to do with stepping in and helping revive that. So, I just want to thank you for your part, because I wouldn't be a part of that VFW if it hadn't been for like-minded individuals like yourself and and people who stepped up within the community. But growing up in Hatboro was small. Hatboro doesn't have a VFW. Went to Hatboro Horsham High School. Struggled a bit. Lost my way. Wanted to go into the military right after high school. Like I said, lost my way a little bit. Went through some rough times, and parents kind of pulled me aside and said, what do you want to do with your life? Because you're getting up there in age and you got to make a decision. So I made the decision to go into the Marine Corps, and it was the right time for me. I needed the type of discipline that they instill in their recruits and in their Marines. But regardless, I'm a proud member of I'm proud to serve this nation. I'm proud to say that I'm a veteran of the military, of the Armed Forces of the United States. A lot of pride in the Marine Corps. Don't get that misconstrued, but I'm out now and I want to help serve veterans a lot like Walt. And I felt like this was a good way to not only reach everybody, but the demographic a little bit. You go to these VFWs, even American Legions, they want to get younger. And I feel like this is like the new way to reach a younger base. And but we encourage input from everybody. And I'm just excited to take this step and launch this new endeavor, and hopefully reach as many veterans as we can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's spot on. I mean, I think what we say, we're going to do this monthly to start off. Maybe, it's going to be hard for me not to pick up the mic and hook it up to my laptop and just have an impromptu 15-minute talk, because I'll do that. This is, yesterday I sat down, it's supposed to be my day off, not supposed to do anything. I wrote a newsletter for the VFW. That's what I created yesterday. That was my, going on MailChimp. And that's some of the stuff we're going to talk about, is some of the best ways to, share information. Listen, I learned more from what 9788 went through than what 1074 went through, just because I got to stand back and see it and watch it happen. And it's a great revival story. You guys were post of the year for the district because of that, the resurgence, and not just, and it was, every VFW has the same problems. Every VFW has the same issues. They got bartenders at overpour. They have, they're trying to figure out what's going on with all the money and making sure everybody's accountable for that. They got a Vietnam vet there who knows more than anybody. I got one at 1074. I love my Hogan to death. Let me tell you right now, I love Hogan to death, but that's what he is. He's that old Vietnam veteran. But there's a lot of knowledge there too, because guess what? When my car broke down and I needed somebody to help out, guess what? Hogan was there. Hogan knew everything that needed to happen. He was helping me change the battery out. He was, and things like that. He loves the post. And I think as long as you have that commonality, that, hey, this is the thing we're building up, and it's that old military, saying, I want to leave it better than what I found it, so how can I do that? How can I leave that better than I found it? That's what I think of every decision I do. With the post, with 1074, it's always, is it better than when I found it? Is this going to make us better? Is this going to set us up for success? And I'm not just talking about the canteen and the bar. I know there has to be a clear line between us serving alcohol and the mission of the VFW. The mission of the VFW is, our youth activities, whether it's a Patriots Pen, Voice of Democracy, Reefs Across America. There's a lot of 501c3s that would kill for what we have. We have that brick and mortar. We have those locations, and these other 501c3s, I belong to a lot of them. The VFW is not my only hat that I wear. I'm an American Legion member. I'm a speaker for the Travis Manion Foundation. I've worked out with the Weekly Fight, Marty Marine. We're probably going to have him talk on here. I was a board member for the Greater Philadelphia Vet Network. Alex Charchowski, he is definitely going to talk to us one time. Mike Brown, who's with the Villanova with the student veterans. I look at Bob as I think about Mike. So. There's a lot of information and stuff out there that I think we can share and be a part of. But, talk to, I want to cut you off there, but, a little bit about your story, about, where you think the future of the VFW needs to be.
Yeah, the future of the VFW, I think, is, I think we're there. I mean, at least from what I see. I mean, I think what's special about the VFW is I not only went to 9788, I belong there, I go there. But I also went to your post. I also been to the Gladwin post. You can fish like right out the back there. It's great.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I just think that I think there needs to be an open mind. Any time that you go through change, or maybe someone has an idea or they're used to running it, it's hard to kind of let that go as you get new members in. And I think the biggest thing for me is that, well, number one, not everyone's old. Just what I construe as a good idea. Maybe it's not the best idea at that time for that VFW.
Yeah.
But also, when you look at people who are involved in the VFW and like the upper echelon of like the officers and all that, I think it's good to get a mixture of both. You get the old and the young. And then eventually, you hear the older guys, the Vietnam vets, the Korean War guys say, look, we need to start transitioning. I hear it all the time.
Yep.
But it's still good to have that old input to kind of maintain what you have, that their families stay in contact. So I think that you need to come up with fresh ideas. I think it may be like a more family-friendly environment. I like the Patriots Pen. I like the scholarships that Horsham just rolled out. James Doherty scholarship.
All that.
Yeah, so that's interesting, and that goes toward a high school a high school student who's going to enroll into the military, and they can use that for whatever. Whether it be, extra clothes, a plane ticket, whatever it is. I think that that's a great start. But I really think you need to see, the major thing with me is you need to see, I think you're right. You have to distinguish between the bar and the mission of the VFW. And for the longest time, when I told my dad I was going to become a member of the VFW, he's like, all it is a dark bar. You know what I mean?
Smoky
dark bar. And
cheap drinks.
People, cheap drinks. And really, I mean, that's what that part of it is. But I think you also need to see information come out more about what the VFW, especially local, all the stuff that they're doing up at national. They go to Congress, district, state. You guys go talk to the politicians, advocate for veterans benefits.
Mm-hmm.
So I think on a local level, on a more scale, like when you look at a individual post and serving that community, not only is it good for the community to see veterans, so hold events where you have the veterans from that post at the forefront of the event, but I also think you got to bring people back in when they come back out of the military. You kind of bring them in and welcome them here and say, hey, you have a place to come. You have a place to go to if you need help. Someone that's homeless, homeless veterans. Questions about the GI Bill. There's so much. I mean, Mike Brown, I went to Monco. He knows a lot about the GI Bill. And I was very fortunate to run into someone like him because he knew a lot about it and he advised a lot. He was like a super advisor is what I want to say. So, I mean, it's good because if I didn't run into him, I would have never have known the full magnitude of what the GI Bill is.
Exactly. It shouldn't be based on luck. Like you said, you were lucky to run into Mike Brown.
Right.
Everybody should have a Mike Brown in their life. Everybody should have that encyclopedia to tap into. And he's somebody like I work for Siemens. I work for Siemens Building Technology. It's a big company, and we want to get into more student veterans. So, okay, great. We're going to talk about student veterans. And I gave my the person who does student recruiting for Siemens, I gave him Mike Brown's number. I'm like, this is the guy you talk to. He's the one who's going to be able to tap in. So a couple things you said that I want to tap into. So the younger veterans, I always shy away from the term younger veterans. I don't need younger veterans. I need new veterans.
Yeah.
I need new veterans and I need more veterans. And that's what I'm looking for because I'm 43 and VFW age, I'm young. I don't feel young. I don't think I'm young. I know there's younger veterans out there, but at 43, they look at me like, hey, you're a young guy, compared to some of these guys. So I always kind of shy away from the younger veterans and I always say new veterans. And I know the second thing because I'm one of them. I'm never going to tell you I need help. I really got to be down. Things really got to be hurting me to be helped. So you may think, oh, I don't need to join the VFW because I don't need anything. I'm good. My life's figured out. Everything's all right. Don't think of it when I approach new veterans. I always tell them, don't think of it as what you can bring to or what the VFW can do for you, but what can you bring to the VFW? Can you help out another comrade who may be down? Can you help them out, maybe learn about financial security? Maybe you have a job to where they could get that kind of trade. What can you add? And it's a unit. It's the last place you'll ever serve. That's what I love. I love that the VFW's motto, this thing is #still serving, and I love that because that really is what we're doing. We are still serving and we want to serve. You signed up, we're out of high school. I signed up out of high school. We wanted to serve and there's that. You miss that even when you get to your employer for the first time and you don't have that camaraderie because you don't sleep in a bunk, 12 feet away from them, so you don't have that to where you're ever going to have that sense of being in a unit with them. But the VFW can at least give you some of that because there are members that I have that, hey, we become friends through the VFW. We've grown through the VFW. You help them move, you help them with their kids. Hey, we're having a problem here. That's what this establishment is here to do. And we want to kind of bring everybody into the tent and it makes us stronger, Yeah,
one thing I noticed too, just to add on to that is, a lot of times people get discouraged because, it's a lot of work I hear, or I don't have the time. And I use that term myself. And I said, I really just got to use the time that I have and really give as much as I can. And that's what I do. And the one thing that I saw, when you have projects going on and there's certain things and people are coming together to make an event happen, that's really what it comes down to. That's when you see the camaraderie with other veterans and community members coming together, the relationship between community and VFW. That's the thing that I look for. When we did our Santa drive-by event, That was a lot of fun. And it was fun because you interacted with everyone there. You got to talk to the people who were coming through, because really what it comes down, it was a perfect, I hate to say it, this is horrible times, but it's a perfect event for the time. And, when it comes down to, we thought that maybe the kids were getting really ripped off. And so we got, Santa Claus was there, Mrs. Claus was there. But I think that there was two elements to that. At least there's more events there that I've seen this, but when you're working together to make something happen, that's when you see the true spirit of the VFW come out.
Yep.
I have a couple comments here on the live feed. Dotsy Noble, Happy New Year, guys.
Okay.
Brian Reinert, I'm not a veteran. I would help out however I could. And one, Conshohocken's very own, Lauren Ashley. Hey, friends, Happy New Year.
There you go.
So we have a couple shout outs.
There you go. So, and it's fun. It's funny when you talk about, so there's ways you can help out the VFW. Most people hear VFW and like you said, hey, it's where smoky, cheap drinks and things like that. So, or they think, hey, I'm not a veteran. I can't go in there. I've heard that numerous times, and nothing could be further from the truth. The good thing about the way our state is set up is that we can have social members. So a social member is anyone member of the community that wants to be a part of the post, and you can sign up. I know different posts have a nominal charge, $20, $25, and that gets you your social membership. You're sponsored by an active member, and you're willing to go there. And the reason why I bring this up, if I only relied on my veterans to keep the VFW going, we'd be shut down in 6 weeks. It's my social members who come, who are there every day, who come and are there to unclog a toilet, who are there to help with us, setting flags up for Memorial Day, who are there to do any one of countless things that we have. And they're all coming at us like, hey, we want to help out. We want to do more for you. How can we help? Mm-hmm. And I love it because it just shows that passion that people have, that, you want to share that with everybody. You want to give that out. And I appreciate every name of the person who said, I want to help out in any way. Find your local post, mm-hmm. Go to them, give them a call. I'm guaranteeing you they have something going on, or they're looking at, and if they don't, call me a Country and I'll call them and try to figure out how to.
Yeah, he's one of ours. I'm taking him.
Okay, there you go. There you go. You claim him. He's all yours. Right. But I'm just saying, there are ways to help. Mm-hmm. I've done there's been a lot of special things that have happened at the VFW, and it's been outside of the bar. I always go back to Steven Jackson, who was on the Marine Corps birthday, not in 2020, but in 2019, was struck and killed in Norristown. And his family, he was not homeless, but he was between houses, lost a lot of his clothes, and the one thing he lost was his Marine Corps dress blues. And his family wanted him to be buried in the Marine Corps dress blues. So I got that call. It was probably the day after Veterans Day. It was November 12th. I got that call from Dennis Miller, head of the Montgomery County Veterans Affairs. He'll be on here eventually too. He'll eventually be on the podcast. That's another name drop that we're going to have, in here to talk to us. We're going to have a lot of people like that, like Dennis Miller. Dennis called me up, said, hey, Walt, I need help. I need to find dress blues. What can you do for me? How can you help me? All right, Dennis, I'm on it. Immediately went to social media. We immediately went to Facebook, put it on the VFW's page, 1074's page. I figured one of my Marines would step up, be like, hey, I got one for you, and we would get it pretty quickly because I have a couple of Marines. I remember this because I was driving my son to go take his driver's test. And so I posted it, and we get in the car and we're driving. And I got a call from a reporter with the Philadelphia Inquirer that I was looking for dress blues. And I was like, yeah, we are. I said, she was like, oh, can I share the story? I was like, absolutely. That post got shared. We were on the Army Times. Like we were all over but that's what the VFW does. We had a local veteran stepped up and donated the whole uniform. Here's the uniform. Here you go. Make it happen. We had to get a hat. We had to get. I didn't realize how much Army uniform is pants. It's a t-shirt. I had to get a hat. I had to get gloves. There was all this extra Marine Corps stuff that I wasn't aware of that I had to get knowledge on. But that was one of my proudest moments, was going through that and getting that uniform, being able to serve that mission to make sure, and then going to his funeral and being able to see his family, that he was honored in that way. And that's what I go back to every time, is that there are more of those stories out there that we should be a part of. that we want to help out with. I don't want a flag going up or down in Conshohocken without us being there. And that's what I tell businesses all the time. I'm like, if you're doing something with a flag, we need to be there. If you're doing something for veterans, we need to be there. I want to be the first top of mind when you're doing that. And I think that's the mentality we all need to have, when it comes to those things. I know I just rambled on a lot of stuff there.
No, I think that's good. I think that's good community output. And I think just as much as the community can do for the VFW, we have to put out just as much. And I think that's really a great way to just kind of network around, because you never know, especially with small business right now, you never know where they might need help. You never know where they can help you, and you work together, especially in a small community like Conshohocken, Horsham. I know North Penn's in a small little town.
That's a beautiful post, though.
It is.
Oh
a
my
nice
God,
post.
you don't understand. I get post envy so hard. Like your guys' posts. I love the pavilion on the back. I love the huge parking lot. Gladwin. I love the fishing and all that. But then I've also had people tell me, they're like, but Walt, I love where you're at because you're right in the middle of town. Like people who walk up to your bar. Like you don't need, to drive your car. You can literally, and it's true. So every post has its pros and and I don't want to say it's cons, but things that it works against. We're a little landlocked. I don't like that, but every post has that, but there's ways to overcome that and make it your own, as you're growing up.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just another way to get into the community is when you network like that. And it doesn't help to know, a lot of different, people who know the VA benefits and know their way around, so that when those community members come forward and say, little Jimmy is getting out of the military, what can we do? Maybe we can help them. We could be a step ahead and help maybe a little bit prepare. And by getting the word out into these communities, it's like, well, I know a guy at the VFW post. So I guess my advice to anyone in that is like, hey, I want to be your first thought if there's a veteran in need.
Exactly.
And you come down to our post or you give us a call and we'll help you.
Yeah. It happens all the time. Those connections are made. The VFW started off because, listen, they didn't understand PTSD. None of these guys had shell shock. None of these guys they were all dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. And we didn't understand it after World War II. We didn't understand it after Vietnam. I really don't feel we understand it fully after Afghanistan and Iraq, but at least I feel now we have a name for it and we are trying to assist with it. And listen, suicide is one of those things we'll get into because it's very prevalent in our community. 22 a day. I know that number's down to 20 a day, but it's still too many. And it's something that we have to be accountable for. We have to understand that number and we have to understand what our part of it. We have QPR classes. The mayor's wife, Sarah, I love her to death. Sarah holds question, persuade, and refer, and that I didn't understand what that meant. And I went through a couple of the classes and now I understand what question, persuade, refer is. I know we had some training when we were in the Army. I forget what it's called, the sharp training and things like that. You would get it, but this was and it's there's not many people who are going to tell you, oh, I don't want to help out the veteran community. There really aren't. You're not going to find a lot of people out there, civilians or military out there, who can tell you we don't want to help. They want to help. They just don't know how to. I talk to a lot of organizations. I talk to Workmark. I've talked to, Reese across America. You see all these great organizations doing these things, and they want to help, and you just got to let them in and show them, hey, how can we be underneath the same umbrella? How can we, could we all want the same mission? We want, veterans to live good, healthy lives, earning good livings, doing what they want to do. And we don't want to see anybody homeless. We don't want to see anybody taking their own lives or doing anything that, you wouldn't want if you're a family, because that's what we are. We're family. We want to make sure everybody's, living that best life and that being that prosperous as we move forward.
Yeah, I mean, even from the beginning times of the Horsham, the resurrection of the Horsham Post, I feel there was a guy, and forgive me, but I forget his name. I give him a shout out too. I met him at the cornhole tournament, and I think he said it was his dad who was on the board in the township there, who kind of helped revive or didn't want it to shut down and kind of fought a little bit. So that means something to me that when you hear of a VFW shutting down, it can't happen, and I think that's something good publicity too, is when you have the VFW had to have done something for him to be able to kind of rein it back in a little bit.
Yeah, the Horsham situation, I won't go too deep into it, 'cause I'm sure we're going to have a much longer conversation when we go into Horsham. But the Horsham situation was they had a bunch of old guys and they didn't have the young guys coming in. And it wasn't their fault. They didn't know how to. I'm sure they were trying to get the young veterans in, and whether they were just turned off by, certain people that were there, or, the one thing that hurts the VFW, especially the canteens, is when it becomes cliquish. When you don't feel welcome to come into your own canteen, when you don't feel welcome to bring new people in, that's the showstopper. And that's what we can never be. It can never be where exclusivity, we need to be. I always say our mission is twofold. Yes, I serve the veterans, but I also serve the community. And I want to make sure everybody understands that and feels welcome when they come into my post, when they walk in, that they're welcome, because they are welcome at our post to come in. But Horsham's, they didn't have a social media presence. They weren't reaching out to, to the community at large. They weren't, bringing them in. I'll tell you, when I drove up, when I was on that council for, hey, they were shutting down because they didn't turn in their election report or whatever it was that brought it to the state's level to say, hey, what's going on with this post? Go check them out. Go inspect them. So about 8 of us that went to the post. And I think it was my second time ever at Horsham. I remember walking around. I'm like, we're not losing this place. This is beautiful. I was like, there's no way. I was like, I'll transfer here. I'll take over. I'll like this. There's no way we're losing this post. I'm not going to let this happen. And we went to social media. That was a huge. I think we found 6 of the 7 people who were on the board through social media. It was you. And people were sharing it all over. I remember that first post and how it got shared everywhere. Like it was, and that's the beautiful thing about social media, is that the next meeting that we had full people. I think we had social members out in the parking lot, because I told Megan Burns, I said, look, show them how much they need, how much this post is needed. I said, you may not be able to come to the meeting, but come out to the parking lot. I said, have your own little tailgate. I don't care what you do out there. Just, I want to show these people that there's support. And the parking lot was full. We had tons of cars in the parking lot, all because they loved that post and they wanted it to remain open. And I give it to Gordon Bowe, who was the district commander at the time. He let those social members come in and talk. He said, hey, you're here, talk your piece. And they came in and they all talked about how much they loved the post. And, they left, and we made the decision, hey, we're gonna try to save it, and I think we had elected officials the next meeting. So there's a lot more to that we'll go into, but if there's a will, if there's one person holding the flag, that's all you need. You need one person who says, I'm going to hold this flag. I'm not going to give up this hill. I'm going to stand here, and I hope you join me, because we're going to be stronger together, and that's what the VFW's mission is about. It's about. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just want to, just so we're not focusing on local stuff, I want to put up there. Lauren just posted something too. I want to share in a minute. So there's just a couple things that 2,100 plus number of VA accredited VFW representatives across America and abroad, helping veterans fight for the VA benefits they earned. Yep. That's something that this podcast is going to be about. 56 number of VFW SVA fellows, student veterans, who have traveled to Washington, D.C. to advocate for veterans' rights.
Yep.
And that's important, too, because that's what you're joining. That's what you're becoming a part of. $9 billion, the total annual amount the VFW helped veterans recoup in VA disability compensation and pension benefits, which includes $1.6 billion in new benefits paid to veterans in the fiscal year 2019.
Absolutely.
There's a whole bunch of statistics here that I don't think we have time to get into, but I just wanted to bring some of them across this podcast platform, because I don't want people to think of the VFW as just a bar or as just cheap drinks. That's a good part of it, but we need to keep focused on what they do, their platform, and what the VFW does for veterans.
You look at the Montgomery GI Bill, that exists because of the VFW.
Yes,
the VFW lobbied for the Montgomery GI Bill and for even the post 9/11 GI Bill, the addendum. That you want to talk about politics. I know everybody has their own opinion about politicians and what politicians are good for, but we have lobbyists down there in DC. Those are those student veteran associates. Those are those that we have active VFW members who are lobbying and meeting with Congress people and senators. I was down there in March before the whole pandemic kicked off, and I went to the legislative conference, and it was amazing going into these congresspersons' offices, these senators' offices, and we had a list of agendas. And it wasn't just to get your photo op. No, we were sitting there talking about 5 or 6 things. We would know whether or not they co-sponsored on the bill, or we would hold them accountable. Hey, God, do you support this? And why or why not? And those were those real conversations. And the one thing the national commander said it there, and it was really important. And it was like, a lot of these people will never hear from it. They don't know about it. Some of these congressmen don't even know it exists because they're not being lobbied. They're not being talked to. The number of veterans we have in the VFW is what gives us a stronger voice. You know,
there's 3 more statistics I'll point out to you. So you have 10,614 number of grants provided to military families facing hardship through VFW unmet needs since 2004.
Burger
That's
King,
impressive.
yeah, Burger King unmet needs. It's a. I think Sports Clips is on that as well. No, maybe that's Sports Clips. I always get the two confused. But yeah, it's a great program. They help active members that are in, and they also help veterans and their families. They will pay if you're in a hardship. You fill this out, and they will pay. They pay your bills directly to the creditors. So if you have any of those things, I've filled out a couple of applications myself already, and I know at least one of them that was approved. It's a really easy process. If you're in everybody's struggling right now, with what's going on, so if you're in that need, you do not need to be a VFW member to put in for unmet needs.
Do you think that some of these need to be brought to the forefront? Because I never, aside from looking at this fact sheet that we had, that's right in front of me now. Yeah. You don't hear too much about these programs.
And it's twofold why we don't hear from them. One, it's because we're proud and we don't want to admit that, hey, I needed help and whatever's going on, or, hey, I don't want to call this person out because I helped them. But I think we do need to share these stories. I think we need to share what it is that we're doing. And I think that brings attention to us. Yeah, it's great to have locally. We help our food bank in Conshohocken, and we help our local areas, but there are some really big organizational things that we have that we can leverage, and we can take advantage of here. Pennsylvania is the biggest state for the VFW. We have more members than any other state in the union. So we have a unique accomplishment here and a unique charge with the people that we have in front of us.
Yeah, for sure. And you can look up these it's a fact sheet. If you go into the media section of the VFW webpage, you'll find the fact sheet that goes into a whole bunch of different things that the VFW is currently doing, have done, and the numbers keep going up. So, and in some cases down certain criteria. So I think that's important to share these things. I agree. I think people, even if you don't mention it by name, experiences that we've all had with helping people through a tough situation, maybe a tough time that we've had on our own. So Lauren's checking in here. You are both key assets to what the VFW has to offer. And I just want to say I appreciate you both and the changes you are making and pushing. We need more people like yourselves in our posts. And I'm excited for what the future holds with you both striving for the better. So thank you both. I'm proud to be a part of the VFW and help in any way I can. I have never served myself, but I admire the strength and courage of those who have. So we thank you for that, Lauren.
Yeah, I call Lauren my command tender. She's the commanding bartender. She's great. She's and Lauren is that example. She's like, hey, I want to do a cornhole tournament. How do we work it out? Her and Ray Bowman, 2 of my social members, 2 of my bartenders, and our cornhole tournaments are awesome now. We got the boards. We got we slowly built it up. I think this was our 2nd annual that we just had. It was great. Now they're bringing it over to Horsham. I know they brought she went and ran the Horsham's VFW, and a lot of people hear that, and that's the one thing I want to dispel too. I totally believe that if your VFW does better, it's going to make my VFW do better. I don't need you to go down for me to succeed. So I think we're getting a wrap up signal here, right? We got like a couple more minutes. No, we're good.
We're good. We got a couple more because we started a little late. So
okay. So yeah. So I want everybody to be able to take these tips and tricks. And if you have them, hey, we're going to put out information. We already have a Pennsylvania VFW podcast Facebook page. We're going to have a Instagram page. We're going to have it open up. If you're a commander and, hey, I want to share what I'm doing because my VFW is great, we want to hear from you. I'm put out this open call to everyone. We're going to have the state commanders on to talk about what they want to talk about. We're going to have, different individuals on here to talk with. It's not just going to be me every month, me and Bob for 45 minutes. This is kind of our introduction, but we want to bring people in and, share their story and, again, see what we can take from it, what we can do to make our areas better, what we can do to make our lives a little easier when it comes to the post.
I think one thing I want to mention too, I mentioned earlier that the VFW is a great advocate for veterans. Not only is it an advocate, but it's a watchdog type too, because sometimes, you do have I think the best advice I ever got was from my uncle, who was in the Vietnam War. He's in the Army, and he said, make sure you use your benefits and take advantage of everything they're giving you, or they're going to take them away.
Absolutely.
Like they did us. And so I reading through and becoming more acquainted with what the VFW offers, I came across that the VA Watchdog, assisting veterans and transitioning military through the claims process. It's really the greatest advocate that a veteran can ask for. And I don't think people realize how significant the VFW is.
Exactly. And so I always think when it comes to that, when I was first getting out, my biggest thing for getting out was I have Crohn's. Yes, I have PTSD. There's a couple other medical factors when I was going through. And I used to go to these events, these Wounded Warrior events. And, they'd be like, oh, we're going to call all the Wounded Warriors on stage, to whatever. And you would have guys who are in wheelchairs, who are missing arms. And they used to like, oh, well, going up there. I'm like, I'm not going up on that stage. I'm not, that's not, you can't see my wounds. I'm okay. If it wasn't for, me telling you this was going on with me. And I had this Vietnam veteran grab me by the collar, like Scruffy grab you, like really like grab you, like he was going to fight me. And he said to me, he said, look, understand this. You're not getting this for anything that you did. He goes, you're getting this because my generation said we would never let it happen again. We would never let what happened to our generation of veterans, the way we came back and we were spit on and we weren't respected and we couldn't get jobs. We were called baby killers. He goes, we're in positions of power now, and we're saying it's never going to happen again to another generation of veterans. And that's something that has always stuck with me. And that's why I always talk about it's not what you're going to get from the VFW, what you can add to it, because that's what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to take it so 20 years from now, I hope my son never has to be a member of the VFW, because that means he would have to serve in war. But if he ever has to, I want there to be an organization that's still fighting for him and giving him those legs up and giving him what he deserves, what he's earned, for his service.
Yeah, I think too. When I was at Monco, we had a guest speaker, and for the life of me, again, I forget his name. He was a colonel in the Air Force, and that's really one stern thing that he said. Was, we went down to Washington and we told them, if you don't keep your promises, this is your last term in office.
Yeah.
And I do believe he was part of the VFW. And that's something that you're right. I mean, it's something that I think that we not only to have new members at the VFW, but we have to have new members to fill those seats up there that are going to fight.
Yeah. I when it comes to I don't care about the R and the D. It really, I always say my party's veterans. It's not I've been an independent longer than I can remember, because if you're not fighting for veterans, the mayor, who's the current mayor of Conshohocken, came and knocked on my door, and he told me about what he was doing and that he was running for mayor, and the current mayor was already in position, and we've known him for a while. And I remember looking at Yaniv, and I said, look, I don't vote for anybody who's not a member of the VFW. And he looked at me all weird. I said, have you ever been in the building? I said, go become a social member. I said, that's the only way I'll ever vote for you. Because you could be a social member, even an active politician. But that shows me at least you paid your $20 a year. You've been in the building. You've talked to a couple of veterans. And let me tell you right now, there's a constituency for you. I don't care what party you are. If you're not a member of the VFW in any shape or form, I don't have time to vote for you. I ain't got time for you. And I'll tell you, that's something we'll talk about politicians and how the VFW can help you. Because listen, he has been our biggest advocate. What Yaniv has done for us since he's taken office has been nothing short. Hey, whenever he asks me, hey, Walt, we want to do, I already say, yeah, whatever you want to do. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, you think it's going to work for us, we're going to take a try. In every event that he's done, we did Barks and Brews. I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever heard. He goes, yeah, we're going to have the dog park come in. The people are going to be able to come and hang out back and drink some beers, and we're going to do a raffle or some other stuff. And I'm like, this is okay, whatever. That's what you want to do. And we were packed. Bob, we were packed. I never had that many people on the parking lot, man. Everybody had their dogs. People were stiffing butts. I mean, it was just all types of, but again, what I tell you, I want 100 people to come to every VFW event I have. Because I know out of 100 people that come to my VFW events, 10% are going to be veterans. That means 10. And I know 2 of them are going to be combat veterans. Not that everything's about membership, but the only way to get that mission out is to go to other extremes. You talked about the Santa Claus. I guarantee you people drove in that parking lot for Santa Claus that never probably drove in that Horsham parking lot again.
Guaranteed.
Never were there before, but hey, they heard this was going on. You guys did a great job advertising on social media, and so they were there. Mm-hmm. And they came to hang out. And now they may come back again. You guys are. Let me tell you right now. I know it's Castle. I know it's Jess. She kills it with your guys' social media. She's good at
what she does. Yeah,
dude. I really feel like I'm on top of it. I read their stuff and I yell. I got my bar mat. You see what they're writing? Why are we not there yet? But anyway. I love it because you guys are doing amazing things down there. Decker's doing amazing. Well, I know Decker's not the commander anymore. I know that they did a new election, but even Decker, those guys have a special spot in my heart because I know where they came from and what they built up, and I see what they're doing. And like I said, it motivates me to want to do more. I go to my post and like, okay, we should be doing this. Why aren't we already have this set up? And I try to get ahead of it.
Yeah, I think the social media aspect of it's really important. Jess does a great job with that at our post for sure. It's I almost feel like there's a lot to do there. Like that's one thing. If I was to start one thing there, it would probably be like a YouTube channel.
Yeah,
like you would set up the YouTube and then like take videos, because Facebook gets you out there. But if you have people who are searching YouTube, you're kind of attacking social media from every angle possible. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I don't know. You could probably have a Twitter account. Not a lot of people know how it works.
Listen, go. You want to have a good time? Go on Snapchat, or not Snapchat, on TikTok. TikTok. There's VFW pages that have TikTok pages. And they're putting on what they're doing at their bars and what they're doing at their posts. I do not shy away from any version of social media, because I think if I can click a button and reach 100 people, and the amount of time it would take me a week to talk to that many people and tell them about what the mission is and what we're doing. But if I can hit a button and get it out there, like I said, the e-newsletter, I said, I have to give people more ways to consume, because some people aren't on social media, but I have a lot of email addresses because people sign up. So I'm going to start emailing out just basic dates. It wasn't a huge thing. And actually Horsham was one of the things I saw they were doing it. I was like, all right, I got to get on my game, So again, they motivated me, and I put mine out yesterday, and I'm going to try to do it monthly. I'm going to try to do like going live once a week, because I see some posts do that on Facebook. They go live and they just talk about, hey, who's working this week? Surprised Lauren hasn't already pitched in. She's opened up at 8 a.m. 8 a.m. We're opening up the post all Monday the 4th. So if you're an early riser and you want to come get a shot before you go to work, Lauren will be there, serving up, to get you right. But there's so many things, and I don't want to. I feel like we've talked for a good bit here, and we haven't brought one of the biggest things that probably one of my proudest accomplishments of 1074 was starting our auxiliary. So the auxiliary is immediate family members of the VFW members. So your wife, your child, your children, your grandparents, and your parents. So if any of those served and they're eligible to be VFW members, then you're eligible to be part of the auxiliary. And the auxiliary is just another way to serve. It's another way for your family to be a part of it. Because you talked about the kids and bringing them in and making more family oriented. Yeah, let's do all that. We did Christmas 2 years ago. We did Christmas cards. We sent to the troops. We sent a whole bunch of candy and Christmas cards, and it was all the kids were in there cutting up construction paper and making these cards, and they loved it. We shipped them all off to a unit over in Afghanistan, and so it was a great. Or it was Iraq, actually. It was a great thing. It was something that we did, and that's the auxiliary. We couldn't do it without them. I'm so glad we have an auxiliary at my post. I know 9788 is getting theirs started. I know I think they already had one meeting. They're going to have a next meeting, so there's an added bonus there, and there's more people under the tent, because the more people we have in the tent, the better the tent's going to be, and that's the way we believe it.
Yeah. Lauren's here. She's saying Irish coffee and Bloody Marys.
See? Surprised she didn't already. She was waiting for me to give her the assist,
the high sign.
Yeah, to go ahead and promote that. It's been tough with being closed. This has been a tough year, and me and Bob were talking before we went on the air here. But every time that I saw the governor say, "Hey, this is what you can't do," I would look at it and be like, "Okay, what can I do? What can I make? How can I make money off of this? How can I bring people in? What can I do?" Not so much what the restrictions are, because I feel if you're looking at it on the positive side, the negative stuff's going to be there. Trust me, I'm not happy about any of this. And most people, oh, Walt, you're accepting it. I don't have a choice, I just, but I want to still be there. You talk about service officers. So I'm a certified service officer for 1074. I've taken my test. I think I got to take my retest again, but yeah, there's great service officers. I have a great chaplain. Anytime I have a problem, my chaplain is a minister. That's who I call. I call Chaplain Dwight Young, and I tell him, hey, I got somebody you need, and Dwight takes care of it. Dwight will make those phone calls, so you got to have those resources behind you. I have a great team behind me. It's not always just me. I have my president, George Burchard. I have my my senior vice Howards. We got a lot of guys underneath the tent, and we're trying to make it bigger. We'll talk about that in another episode too, about how you can include other organizations in your group, because that's something we're doing right now. We're trying to bring in AMVETS into my post, because that way we're open to all American veterans. You can be an active member of AMVETS, which is American Veterans Post 1074. We're doing a charter meeting on January 9th at my post.
I've signed up.
Oh, there you go.
I'm signing up. Actually.
Yeah. Well, and come by. And I think this is something that all VFWs could do to increase them. Because one of the hardest things that I don't like, you get a veteran come in, hey, I served in the Marine Corps. Okay, did you serve overseas? No, I didn't. I was stateside the whole time. And you can become a social member. And that's all I can really offer them. I can't offer them anything else. I can't offer to make them an active member because he didn't serve overseas. So then. And AMVETS is going to help us with that, because now I'm going to be able to say, okay, well, you can't be a member of the VFW, but you can be a member of AMVETS. So let me get you a card. Let me get you a membership card. Let me sign you up. And you're going to be a member of AMVETS, who is an active person within our post. Mm-hmm. And it just, again, it almost adds the tent. I always talk about bringing under the tent. That adds to the tent and makes it bigger.
Yeah. I mean, I have another suggestion from Lauren. She's just full of them today. Can we host like a Meals on Wheels for the homeless vets? Or maybe pitch in to pay for their prescriptions. I think that's a good idea, but I think that there is a organization out there. What is it? Stand Down?
Yeah.
That does something like that.
Yeah. Stand Down does a lot of, listen,
team up with Stand Down.
There are, and that's a great thing. I don't need to create 501c3s because there are so many out there. I think there's 500,000 501c3s that are focused on veterans, out there in the United States, and when you start looking locally and you start looking at what they're doing, what's it called down in the city? I'm drawing a blank. Erica Webster went and spoke there. It's a woman's, the VMS, Veteran Multi-Service Center. They have a woman's, all they do is they help female veterans. And we got to get better at it as a VFW too, because we do really bad with female veterans. The VA did bad with it for a number of years, and the VFW hasn't really helped out that much since then. So we need to get better with our female veterans and bring them in. We're going to have a long talk about that. We'll have Erica here. Erica is an active member of our post. She's the owner and proprietor of Dub Fitness, who is all about female empowerment and working out. And I can't do half the stuff she does on there. Bob, you got to see these ones. She did like 1 million burpees in 1 month or something like that. Like, it was insane, but it's the stuff that they get involved with. And she's raising money for charity, Team Foster, raising money for service dogs that go to veterans. That's Nick Lieberman with Team Foster. I could go on and on about all these organizations that are out there that could definitely use our support and our help. And I think if we all work together, it's more fun, it brings you a sense of pride at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, I've actually heard a lot about Erica Webster. I haven't really, I think she came by Monco. A lot of my experiences with a lot of the people around here, like an Erica Webster or Dennis Miller, they all have come down to Monco when we've had it to talk. So I think that's
Mike Brown was he was it.
He's a force, man.
Yeah. And there are a lot of those people around it. You got Jimmy Young. You got Jim Young with Travis Mannion. I mean, the guy's a beast.
Yep.
I'm in all of these guys. I watch them, see what they're doing, and they're doing great things for the community. And some of them go unsung and don't know about it. And that's one of my newest things too. Is sometimes you feel embarrassed even tooting your own horn, saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." We got to get over that as veterans too. We got to start tooting. We got to start singing our own praises and bolstering up those around us.
Maybe we could, to start out, it'd be a good thing to like get a couple of VFWs together and create like a women's network of veterans. And then, because at the post level, it is hard to attract veteran members, active members. But if you can have like 3 different, maybe you have like a handful, and then maybe it branches out from there. Once you have a couple of members, and it can.
So Pennsylvania VFW has a women's retreat. They have look at you, just shocked you right there. You didn't even know it existed.
I actually do think I remember something.
Listen, that's how I got. There are times when I get members. There are times when I get members. It's like, going after the whales. You go after the big fish. So Erica Webster, I was trying to get Erica Webster to join my VFW for 3 straight years, and she just gave me the Heisman every time. It was just, nah, we're not going to, it wasn't interested. It wasn't until I sold her on the women's retreat and how her voice could be added to that she really came along and was like, okay, I'm in. She sent me her DD 214 the next day, and that's why I was able to get her under our rolls, get her into our books. And now she's a member of our post. And, we're trying to, I think they're doing it again this year. I think 2020's got canceled because of the whole COVID thing. It's supposed to happen in April. I think it happens near State College. You do not have to be a VFW member to go. It's open to all veterans. All female veterans are welcome to come. I know they have limited signups because they try to take care of everything for them. The post all donate money up, so that way there's no money out of pocket for the female veterans to go. I want to say it's in April. I don't have the date here right in front of me, but it's a beautiful thing, and it's something that we're definitely going to have to bang the drum, and that's what this. Hopefully this will do. This will give us another avenue to get this information out. To your point, you didn't know anything about unmet needs. We're going to get this information out.
Yeah, and that's important. It's very crucial, especially to people who need it. I know we're getting someone else is giving a shout out to Stand Down, Sandy Betham, and I apologize if I pronounce your last name wrong. Stand Down is awesome. Worked with Stand Down in the past.
Yeah.
So I mean, you have people out there who do know and who have worked with Stand Down. It's just a matter of getting it out there again and making it known to people so they can help folks out.
Absolutely.
So Lauren's checking in again. There you go.
This one.
I think she's bucking for a raise, man. Well, then we need to start pushing and advocating these things to our vets who lack knowledge on the whereabouts of the help out there. Again, I appreciate you both and hope more people stand up to help advocate.
There's that command tender. I'm telling you,
she's going to take your job.
She already. You don't even want to know.
So Sandy Betham's checking in again. We appreciate the contribution. It would be great if 1074 could schedule for the Veterans Traveling Memorial Wall to come to the Conshohocken White Marsh area.
Yeah, no, that's something we looked at before. I know they do their. I think they stopped moving the traveling wall for a while because of COVID. I don't know if it's still moving, but I know it came close to us one time. We were trying to petition for it, but that's stuff you have to do years in advance. I know we've submitted things before, and we're hoping to hear back. But we would love to have them either at the district level, even if we had to go to Norristown, have it go to the that area, so maybe we could have more posts included. Again, it's not just about 1074. District 16 is all Montgomery County. I'm the senior vice for District 16. In 2 years, hopefully I'll be elected to the commander of District 16, where then we'll have the whole 15 VFWs in Montgomery County. But this is all about sharing these information. Maybe you do have a good contact with a service dog organization. Maybe you have a great contact with an organization that feeds homeless veterans. That's what we want to know about, because we want to be able to promote it and share it out far and wide so other people can take advantage of it, and so other people can promote it and be a part of it.
Okay. Yeah. So I think this is a great introduction show here. We hope that you'll tune in. If you're finding this on a platform, if you like the CB Pro Live on Facebook or YouTube, you could get the channel where we go live. We're going to do this once a month. We'll put it out there, the Facebook page.
Yep. And then it's going to be on Apple Podcasts. It'll be on all the podcast platforms.
Yep.
Please, some of and some of you listen to podcasts like a lot know, leaving a rating and a review is probably the best thing you can do. If you share it out on your network, that's even better. But ratings and reviews is what's going to give us more visibility when people search for VFW. When you search for VFW on podcast right now, most of the stuff that comes up is that horror movie that came up that was made that was titled VFW. So we're trying to, debunk that and get that being the top search item, and hopefully this podcast and then the actual VFW national podcast, which they're doing a great job with that. Check them out. They do a monthly hour-long podcast talking about different issues.
Yep. And the Facebook page is Pennsylvania VFW Podcast. That'll be going out shortly.
Yep.
Give us a couple days. We're going to work that out. And that'll be another thing that comes about our way, and hopefully we can grow this and it will be bigger than just Facebook, and we can move to other platforms as well. That's
the plan. All right.
So,
all right. Appreciate it.
Closing thoughts, sir?
No, I think we covered a lot of stuff today. I think we, I had a lot of notes written down. We covered a lot of it. I think, next one we'll really have, we'll start fine-tuning and start saying, hey, this is what we're going to talk about on this episode, and really, try to drill down on some of these topics and go into that. But I think this is a great way to open up the conversation and, see what things are going on.
Yeah. And I do plan on having a podcast event at the Horsham VFW 9788 this coming May. More details will come about that.
They didn't even know about it yet. They didn't even know.
They didn't know about it
We
yet.
just figured that out in the hallway.
And there's actually, we're going to have a lot of different, I'll have more information about that and who's going to be involved and what the shows are, perhaps on another broadcast. But there is someone in the house today who likes to help out veterans. Pops McCann Whiskey's here. Looks like he left the room for a minute.
He's right behind you there. I saw him giving you a peek when he was looking.
Yeah, he'll be back. Yeah. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. He's actually helps out one of the other podcasts here, but I find that pretty cool because I think that he, in a roundabout way, by sponsoring that show, he helps push along this product as well because people tune in. So they like the CB Pro Live page. Maybe there's a veteran who listens in on Santa Boot first and they want to talk about some veterans issues. So that's my closing remarks. Do you have anything, Walt?
No, I'm good. I appreciate the conversation. I appreciate you, Bob, for pushing me. You got me in this room and you made this happen. And I really do. You kept me honest and you kept me pushing through for something that I wanted to do. And I appreciate you for that. And I really do. I hope we hear from people, man, because I think that this could be a great medium for us to get this message out. And it's only going to get better with the more voices that we have that are, going to come across these airways. All right.
Shout out to Dotsy Noble, Brian Reinert, Lauren Ashley. Who else chimed in here? And Sandy Betham, who all chimed in. We appreciate your contribution. Hopefully you'll tune in next month. Thanks again. Be looking for us on Facebook, Pennsylvania VFW Podcast. We'll see you next time.